In this lecture, I will teach you step number 4 in delivering your content, which is called a relate and takeaway. For your business talks, your smaller audiences, the relate means that you summarize your top 3 points. So in our instance, in the subject of the H standing for habit, you would say something like, so in summary, the H stands for habit and it's about you having healthy habits towards a good life. What we covered are the following points. Number 1, minimize your sugar content. Number 2, eat more fruits and vegetables. Number 3, and number 4. And so you would summarize your content accordingly. If you are delivering this to a public audience, your relate and takeaway is slightly different. You'll first start on the gain side and talk about the gain of the audience actually following your advice. And you'd say something like, so what are you going to do now? Are you going to take healthy steps towards living a good life? And then you'd walk to the pain side and talk about the pain of them not following your advice. And so it sounds something like, or are you going to continue having extra sugar, not eating more fibrous fruit and vegetables, and putting your health at risk? And then you'd come to the middle of the stage and you do the similar step that you do for business talks and summarize the content in 3 steps. And so you'd say, so in summary, healthy living is about having healthy habits. And you'd summarize 1, 2, 3. Once you do that, you'd have something called a takeaway line. It's a phrase that you would put together for your public talks, just to remind them about what it is that you have said. And so a takeaway line for something like this would sound like, healthy habits lead to healthy life. You'd ask them to write that takeaway line down. You'd repeat it twice just to make sure that your audience gets that phrase. And there you have it. Those are your techniques for relating and takeaway lines for either your business talks or public talks. This lecture concludes the 4th step in delivering your content. So to summarize, for each category within your framework, you follow 4 steps. You either share or spice the information, step number 1. Step number 2, you transform the audience using either business techniques or public talk techniques. Number 3, you anchor the message. In other words, you illustrate that point with either a story or an activity or a visual or an experience that you share with them. You would have learned this in lecture 3 of the section. And finally, you now relate. That's the R and star, where you either summarize your 3 points for business talks, or you engage them a little bit more further and include a takeaway line for your public talks. You follow these 4 steps for each category within your framework. So as an example, in our framework, we've got the word health, H-E-A-L-T-H. That's 6 letters, so you'd apply these 4 steps to each one of those letters within your framework. This completes all the lectures in this section. I now ask you to move on to the journal exercise for this section, which will help you to entrench the learning from here. I'll see you on that journal exercise.